Lions TV. This is the Den Daily, bringing you all the latest gossip, views and transfer news from in and around the Den. Earlier this week, we welcomed the news that Millwall have signed on a pre-contract agreement 18-year-old central attacking midfielder Daniel Kelly from Celtic. However, there was some bad news. Pre-contract agreement could have been a little bit of a clue that he will not join the Lions until January the 1st. His current Celtic contract expires on the 31st of December, and after that he will become a Millwall player and join the rest of Neil Harris's squad for the rest of the season in SE 16. I put the video out and there were some good comments on there, some that I had thought about. I'd seen the news myself, but people were saying, well, why have we not got him now? But there's a few things that's factored into that. First and foremost is that he's basically pissed Brendan Rodgers off. There's some clips going around on social media recently, actually, about Brendan Rodgers and him having a dig at Raheem Sterling when he was Liverpool manager, and he comes across as a complete bellend. So maybe his ego's been hit a little bit, but they did offer Daniel Kelly a lucrative new contract at Celtic, and he refused to sign it. Why did he do that? Well, there's a few reasons. Mainly because I think he is, a Celtic player born and bred. He's been there a long time, even though he's only 18 years old. But he looks in front of him in the pecking order and saw there was a few players there, and I don't think that Rodgers and Celtic could guarantee him first team football. On top of that, he's got lots of interest from clubs all over Europe, including Bayer Leverkusen. And someone said to me, I think it might be my old man actually, that Spurs were also sniffing around him. So it's a major coup for the Lions, but on the basis of him turning down that new contract, I'm sure he's got his reasons, and I'm sure he's got his advisors as well at such a young age. Brendan Rodgers has fucked him off, basically. Sorry about that. Couldn't think of a better term. And let him rot in the Celtic B team. He's done well for them, though, this season. I know, no offence to Scotland, but it's not the greatest standard as it is. And Celtic B team, I can only imagine the sort of pull that they've got. But he has done well regardless. Turning out 4 times in the Lowland League, scoring twice and producing 1 assist. So what other reasons could there be behind, other than Brendan Rodgers not wanting him to leave and making it now difficult for him as he has agreed to leave and join Millwall? It could also be, obviously, the standout obvious point is that if we want him now, we would have to pay a fee. It's what we're in there now, August, it's January, it's 4.5, 5 months until he lands in SE 16. And I thought at the time, maybe Neil Harris thought that we've got enough in those areas to get us through. We've got Saville and Denor and George Honeyman and Alfie Massey, and of course Billy Mitchell still to return from injury quite shortly, I believe, within the next month, I'm sure. So that's 5 central midfielders, players in his position, and maybe Harris thinks, we don't really need him right now. When he comes in, will he come into the first team? I certainly hope so. Or will he be sort of bled in? Maybe, I don't think he'll go out on loan. I think although it's only Scotland, and although he's not done loads in his career, he is highly rated. I think he's above that bracket already. No disrespect to any Millwall players that do go out on loan, but he's been knocking on the door at Celtic, making lots of noise. And if he comes to South Bermondsey, I expect him to want to be in and around the first team. So I thought Neil Harris has probably looked at what we got, looked at what we need in other positions, and just said, yeah, all right, look, again, brilliant acquisition. Young player, you've got Massey coming through, amongst others, and we're building a really good young squad, a team for the future. We're not pressing the panic button, and we're biding our time, and we're getting the right players over maybe a little bit more of a longer period than we would like as fans. But looking towards the future, he looks nothing but bright. But today there has been some new revelations. Peter O'Rourke broke the news via the Footy Insider. I know some of you don't think that that's the most reliable sources. I've said this before, I actually pay for Pete O'Rourke's Patreon. I think he gets a little bit of unfair press. I suppose if you're in that game like I am as well, you're there to be shot down. Some people like you, some people don't. Luckily for me, 90% do and only 10% don't. Anyway, moving on. So it looks today now like we could be potentially trying to make things work with Celtic and Brendan Rodgers to bring him to the Den early. Of course, that would come at a cost for us, and it would cost us a small fee. Thinking about this, look, I've said this before time and time again, we know we punch above financially, but I do honestly think that we've got Tanganga in. Yes, we got him for free, but I think what he wanted in wages, we couldn't get anywhere near. So the shortfall, I think, in my opinion, I don't know anything, any inside news, anything concrete. I'm just reading between the lines that we have now given Tanganga a sort of a sign-on fee on the sly, Bosh, take hold of that, and that's sort of where the majority of our transfer budget has gone. So we wait and see what happens. If we do get him, we'll have to pay a fee. There has been talk online of £500,000, which, you know, works out about 100 grand a month. I think that's a little bit much. And I think we could get through with what we've got if we needed to. However, Neil Harris must clearly rate him if he wants him at the club now. And on top of that, and I would say 4.5 months, it's not a long time, but don't forget, December is a hectic month in football. It always is. Loads of fixtures in and around the Christmas, Boxing Day, New Year period. And you go from playing sort of 5 games a month to around 8 or 9 usually. So maybe Harris has got that in mind. He definitely seems like he wants to get Daniel Kelly to the Den sooner rather than later. So he must really rate him. And I'm excited by the news. And I will bring you more on it as I hear it. And just quickly before I wrap it up, because I don't think he'll be coming to the club, although I hope he does. I'm not talking about Kelly. I'm talking about, I think his name's Josh Coburn, the Borough striker. 6'3" lump. Richard Cowley said there's definitely weight behind it. I might cover this in a separate video. But if you watched the football last night, he played up front for Middlesbrough, away at Leeds, scoring one of the 3 goals. He looked really dangerous. So obviously his price tag's now gone through the roof, or he may have give Michael Carrick food for thought. But I'll let you know on both those stories as they develop. Daniel Kelly definitely seems a lot closer than Coburn. Please subscribe to Lions TV. Come on, you Lions.